Some Tesla drivers learned the hard way about how cold weather impacts their battery life. This was the scene this morning at a charging station near 95th and Western in Evergreen Park. Drivers say some of the stations weren't working, and those that were taking a lot longer to charge.
Habra, 2 electric cars were destroyed after catching fire overnight. Happened about 2:30 this morning near Greenbrier Lane and Imperial Highway in La Habra.
A Centennial couple is out of their house tonight after their vehicle caught fire. The Jaguar I-Pace was charging at the time of that fire, and Fox 31 has learned that thousands of those I-Pace models are under recall. It's because of fire risks in those batteries. Kim Posey shows us the new tool that firefighters are using to handle EV fires.
For over 5 hours at this point, and I'm still have not got to charge my car. Charge it should take 45 minutes. It's taken 2 hours.
That driver says he saw at least 10 cars towed.
So what is the future of electric vehicles in 2025 and beyond? Well, in the beginning, we did look at a few of the challenges that EVs have. We've seen, of course, frozen charging stations and fires and things like that, and people waiting for hours to get their car charged. Well, there are others, such as people with range anxiety, not knowing if they're going to get where they need to go with a full charge. Others, it's more of a practical thing. Perhaps they're renting an apartment complex that does not offer charging, and perhaps the nearest charging station is miles away, or maybe it's just across the street, and you never know if it's working or not. So knowing these challenges that face the electric vehicle market, a lot of them have been overcome through technology with battery chemistry. In fact, I was watching an interview with Elon Musk, and one of the questions posed to him was, well, what about people that need to stop off and charge their cars and they don't have 45 minutes or an hour to wait at a charger? And he, quite frankly, pointed out, and it is true, he said with today's technology and battery technology, you're only limited by the range of your bladder. And if you stop off, you need to go to the bathroom, plug your car in, grab something to eat, maybe have a drink, check your messages, you come out, unplug your car, you're 80% full, and you're on your way. Well, Elon, that is true. However, everything has to fall in place for that to happen. Number one, you have to own a car which can support charging in 20 minutes. There are only a handful out there. The Ioniq 5, the Kia EV6, and some of the Tesla models, of course, do support that, but there are plenty of other vehicles that will take a good 40-45 minutes to charge. The second thing is the charger needs to be able to output that amount of voltage. There are chargers out there that do that. Tesla chargers do a great job. But the infrastructure of high voltage superchargers, it's really not out there yet. So while Hyundai and Kia can say we can charge our batteries in 18 minutes, well, you got to find the right charger to do that. The third thing is you better hope they're up and running. That's right. If you get to that rest area and the chargers are down, what good does it do? You can't charge. You'll have to move on. And of course, the last thing is, I hope there's no cars in front of you. I hope there's no cars in that charging station, because if there are, you're going to have to wait till they're done, which can be 20 minutes, a half hour, 40 minutes, and then you'll plug in. So your overall wait time could be well over an hour. So with that being said, and many of these challenges being addressed, again, the battery chemistry is a lot better now. Less accidents, longer range. It should be a boost for the EV market, I think, shouldn't it? Well, in my opinion, there's two things going against it for the future, and those are the two P's: price and politics. I want to get into the pricing first. Now, with Electric vehicles, we all know that they're priced anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 over their internal combustion counterparts. So with the cost of living going up, people, they really can't afford new cars, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 anymore. In fact, if they need them, they're taking financing out for 6, 7, 8, even 8.5 years to purchase a vehicle. And with a $10,000 to $20,000 increase just for an electric vehicle, it's not really practical for a lot of people on a budget. Also, the price of servicing an electric vehicle is a little bit more. Now, that's true, there's no oil changes or fluid changes, but there are still maintenance items that need to be done, and they do cost more than your ICE vehicles. Believe it or not, the price of supercharging is just out of hand. It's like the Wild West. You never know what you're going to get when you pull up to a supercharger. Some could be 30 cents a minute. Some could be 40, 50, 60. You never know. At least with an internal combustion engine, at least here in New Jersey, you know about what you're going to pay per gallon, anywhere between $2.60 and $3 a gallon. But if you're charging your vehicle going on a long trip, it's actually, believe it or not, more expensive to charge your vehicle using a supercharger than it is putting fuel in it. Again, those are a few of the issues dealing with the cost of an EV. But again, as we get into the future and more technology is available, more battery chemistry is available, the price will come down and make it more viable to own and maintain an electric vehicle. So now that we've covered the price and cost issues, let's get into the politics of it. Now, I usually never like to talk politics because in this country anyway, there is a big divide between politics, and it's not my thing. I think we should be coming together, not tearing people apart. But anyway, politics does have an effect on the EV market. Let's just talk about the previous administration or the Biden administration. We hear a lot of the EV mandate. Oh, Biden wants all electric vehicles by the year 2030. He is pushing electric vehicles. There's an EV mandate. I can't believe that's happening because, we're not set up for that kind of thing. Manufacturers aren't set up to produce it. Our grid can't handle it. We hear all of that, right? Just to get it straight. Now, I'm not going to talk politics without facts, all right? So there is no EV mandate. Let me repeat that. Under the Biden administration, he did not sign an electric vehicle mandate. That's completely false. The mandate is any car being sold in the United States needs to cut their emissions by 50%. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter how you do it. You could sell all hybrids. You can have a more efficient ICE vehicle. You can have a hydrogen vehicle. Hell, you can even have a giant hamster wheel in your car. It doesn't matter. Now, the other side of the politics say, no, it's an EV mandate. And I can understand that because under the Biden administration, he is fully supporting and investing in electric vehicles. Let me give you an example. The spending bill for infrastructure is over $7 billion. And that goes directly for EV stations. Now, it's been implemented for quite a while, and there's only 8 of them built under that federal money. So I don't think it's working out quite well, but it is there to support electrification. The second thing is there's a $1.7 billion part of that goes directly to manufacturers, and that is to support their electric vehicle endeavor. It goes to research and development, as well as manufacturing and building of the electric vehicle components. Of course, there are stipulations on that. You can get into that. It's got to be, most of it's got to be American made. You know, the battery components, most of it has to come from the United States. However, the components that we cannot get or we cannot mine here, there is a 25% tariff that he did impose on those minerals and battery components. You can check that out here.
A 100% tariff on electric vehicles made in China. People say, wow. Because we're not going to let China flood our market, making it impossible for American auto manufacturers to compete fairly. We're also implementing a 25% tariff on electric vehicle batteries from China and a 25% tariff on critical minerals that make those batteries. I'm determined that the future of electric vehicles will be made in America.
So in my opinion anyway, the previous administration investing in electric vehicles, I don't really have a big problem with, but as we all know, here's the reality of it. Okay, I'm just going to take Ford, GM, and Stellantis for right now. I'm just taking the big three. What did they do with the money that's given to them? Well, Ford made their F-150 electric, right? Which cost the consumer anywhere between $75,000 and $100,000. Big ticket item there. What did Chevy do? Well, let's make an electric Silverado and an Equinox, but the big one was the Hummer, which costs $120,000. They do have an Equinox, which is cool. That's pretty affordable. And the Ford company, their electric Mustang, it's still a lot of money, but at least it's not like an F-150. Now, Stellantis, what they want to do, or Dodge, they're developing a muscle car that actually makes ICE vehicle sounds. That's right. They're going to pump artificial engine noise through the stereo so it kind of feels like you're driving an ICE vehicle, but it's really not. It's an electric vehicle. I think the price on that is well over $70,000. You see where I'm going with this? The manufacturers collecting the government cheese are making vehicles that are an incredible amount of money. I can't afford those vehicles. Well, what about the manufacturers not receiving federal money, like Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, Toyota? Well, guess what? They're making vehicles that people can afford. Like, I'm sitting in a Kia Niro here, brand new. You can buy one with incentives for around $40,000 or just under $40,000. Is it more than the ICE vehicle? Absolutely. But is it $80, $90, $100, $120,000? Absolutely not. So that gets me thinking, you know, the people getting the government cheese, the manufacturers getting the government cheese are making vehicles that are way, 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 way priced too high. The manufacturers not getting the government cheese are making the ones that are more affordable and more practical. So you tell me, is it worth the government giving these manufacturers money? Another thing pushing EV sales are government incentives or tax incentives to you and me. So if we were to go out and purchase these vehicles, of course, they have to qualify, right? This is in the writing. They have to be American made, or they have to be built here in the United States. I shouldn't say that, but built here in the United States. You can qualify for a $7,500 tax credit or a $44,000 tax credit for a used vehicle. Now, that's all well and good and fun, and I think that's a good idea. But does it really only apply to cars built here in the United States? No, it doesn't. There is a way around that, and people do take advantage of it, and I don't blame them. If I buy, for example, this Niro was not built here in the United States, it does not qualify for a $7,500 tax credit if you buy it brand new. However, if you lease the vehicle, you can get that $7,500 off, right? Great. Then after your lease is done, you buy it out. So theoretically, you still got that $7,500 tax credit even though it was made overseas. So what about the upcoming administration? What does that look like? Well, that's pretty easy.
I'll terminate Joe Biden's radical plan to kill Michigan's economy by repealing his insane electric vehicle mandate. Is that the craziest thing? Is that the craziest thing? Everybody's going to have an electric vehicle. By 2030, he wants everyone to have an electric vehicle.
The Trump administration wants to eliminate all incentives to manufacturers. He wants to take the $1.7 billion that are going to manufacturers, cut it off. Let them determine what the consumers want. Let them flip the bill for research and development, and let them manufacture the way they see fit, not the way the government sees fit. That's his view. Also, no more tax incentives for you and me.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump has indicated that once in office, he plans on ending the consumer tax credit for electric vehicle purchases. So under President Biden's signature Inflation Reduction Act, buyers qualify for a clean vehicle tax credit of $7,500 for a new electric vehicle and up to $4,000 for a used one. Policy also applies to lease vehicles. So according to Emmons, that's a car research and buying company, the average discount on EVs last month was more than $3,500 off the total price. However, even with that discount included, the average price of an EV was more than $59,000. So just for some context, that's roughly $12,000 more than the average price of a gas-powered car.
That kind of stinks. You know, that's $7,500 and $4,000 was a good incentive to go out and purchase a vehicle. Also, in a lot of states, there is no sales tax. So that's a big savings as well. At least here in New Jersey, there is no sales tax on electric vehicles. So is that going to affect the future? Here in the United States, you're always going to have that niche, that those people who want electric vehicles, and they're going to continue to buy them, I think. Right now, about 7% of all vehicles on the road are electric. I think that's going to flatten out. I don't think it's going to go up too much. I don't think it's going to go 8, 9, 10, 12%. I think maybe it'll go 10% and then flatten out. I don't think it's going to be 50% like the previous administration was thinking. And that, of course, those incentives are being taken away. Trump says, drill, baby, drill, right? We hear that all the time. He wants lower fuel costs. Lower fuel costs is more economical than paying higher electric rates. It just makes more sense to buy a nice vehicle, right? So the future, to me, looks like EVs are going to slow down here in America anyway. I think overseas, hell, the sky's the limit. I mean, look at China. They're producing those BYDs, and they're amazing. They're the #1 seller of electric vehicles in the world. Yeah, they beat Tesla. So worldwide, electric vehicles, I believe, are going to still climb, but here in America, they may climb a little bit and then flatten out over the next few years. And that, my friends, is all I have for you today. In closing, price and politics are going to be an essential driver for the future of the EV market. You all have a wonderful holiday and a great new year. And if you're interested in an electric vehicle, I would get out there now. You've got end of year savings, plus you still got those tax credits until the next administration takes office. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.